If you like brownies and you like caramel and you like German chocolate cake mix, stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to make the best brownies ever. Hey there, it's Vicki Marie, and today I'm going to show you how to make John's favorite caramel brownies. And they're made with German chocolate cake mix, caramel candies, and that's the main ingredients in them. But anyway, they are so good. You guys have seen me haul the German chocolate cake mix lately. I have shown this recipe here on my channel before, but I wanted to show it again because the first time I filmed it, it didn't come out as great as it usually does. But I'm going to tell you guys, there's something I've bought for my kitchen that has really made the difference in these brownies. And I'm going to share this on I'm going to show a clip here in just a minute of those brownies. But let me show you. Let me show you how good these are. Oh my gosh. Now, they're not real thick. They're layered. They have a German chocolate cake mix crust kind of on the bottom, the caramel center, and then some more German chocolate cake mix on the top. Oh my gosh. Now, I can afford the carbs because I'm getting ready to go out and mow the lawn. And it's in the 90s right now. It's about almost 97 degrees here where I'm at. So I'm probably just going to mow half, take a little break, and mow the rest. But it's hot. There's no good time to mow the lawn these days in where I live. So anyway, oh my gosh. These brownies are one of John's favorites. They were a recipe from his mom. I learned it from her, and they are so good. So let me jump right in and show you guys the recipe. I'm going to show you guys how to make these. I have this little recipe box. This is pretty old, but it says, "Friends like flowers, give pleasure just by being here." And this was a gift from my friend, my very dear good friend, Mary Beth from Arizona, my BFF girl. So, and it's not very organized, but this is where I keep all the recipes from my mother-in-law because she wrote everything on cards back then. And yeah, you can see, well, there's a few other things too. This was from a friend from work. But these are all pretty much my handwritten recipe cards that people, like gifts, like that people gave me or my mother-in-law wrote out for me, things like that. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, this is where I keep all of my special recipes that were written out. There's something really special about, just people writing things out. And some of these people are gone now, but I look at these and I hold on to them and I feel the love. So you can see my floor. We're putting new flooring in, so pardon my dust. That's pretty ugly back there, but I really wanted to share this with you. And yeah, so now this particular recipe, I have the original that she wrote out, but I didn't have it protected, so I had to rewrite it so that I have the original, but I had to rewrite this one. And my writing is so sloppy, but I just wrote it out real quick. I should type it out, but I just haven't done that yet. So what you're going to need for this recipe is a box of German chocolate cake mix. This has been so hard for me to find. This was the last box in the store at Walmart, and I've been trying to pick this up ever since the whole quarantine thing started, the staying at home. They ran out of the German chocolate cake mix. I guess apparently it's a big hit. So yep, we're going to need that. We're going to need a can of chocolate. You can make your own chocolate if you want. I'm just using the milk chocolate Betty Crocker, which is what I always use, but I use this for the glaze. Okay, and then you're going to need, this is a small can of the evaporated milk, 2 sticks of butter, and these are half a cup, the full sticks. They're just fatter. They're the shorter, fatter ones, so they don't look maybe quite as big, but they are. So these are 2 sticks, so that's a total 1 cup of butter. And now you know why it is so dang delicious. And then a bag of caramels, and these are the best. Now you can use those little beads that they sell in the bags for baking, but they're not as good. I've used them. I always go back to these. These you just cannot beat. So that's it. It's a simple recipe, and that's all you're going to need. I'm going to start off by preheating the oven to 350. Oh, I almost forgot, you are going to need 1 egg. And I got some fresh eggs from a friend of mine. Her daddy raises hens, not grows, raises hens. So I've got to soften one of the sticks, a half a cup of butter. So I'm going to soften my butter in the microwave. I've got the oven preheating to 350. All right, next we're going to take our cake mix, our box of cake mix, a half a cup of softened butter, and 1 egg. And I'm going to put it in my mixer, and I'm just going to mix it on low until the mixture is crumbly. You don't want it fully mixed, you just want it crumbly. It's really hard to get this texture. I used to struggle with it until I got my KitchenAid mixer. This thing does a fabulous job, but if you don't get it quite perfect, you can stir it with your hand if you want, or a fork, like what are those? Like a whisk or something like that. Just do the best you can. If it doesn't come out crumbly and you still get that dough, don't worry, you can still use that. So but I'm going to do it in my KitchenAid, and it works really well. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to add the butter. I'm just going to pour that right in. Oops. Now I have turned down the audio here to the mixer so it doesn't blow your ears out. But the point here is that you do not want to mix this too fast, and you don't want to turn the mixer up too high, because you'll just get a big ball of dough, which works for some recipes but not for this one. You want to try to get that crumbly mixture, that crumbly consistency, and I've always struggled with that until I got my KitchenAid. Now once I get it started, I do turn up the speed a little bit, and you can see though I'm watching it and I'm getting a nice crumbly texture. Now I'm in a dry climate. I don't know if humidity impacts this or not. So if you do end up with a big ball of dough, no worries, you can still use it. It'll taste still really yummy. That's perfect. Perfect. See how crumbly it is? That's what you want. But don't worry, if yours came out more of a ball of dough, that happened to me for years, and you can still use it. I wished I would have gotten my KitchenAid sooner. I didn't get it until I was about 53 years old when I got my first KitchenAid. Now we want to grease about a 13 and a half by 9, I believe, or 13 by 9 inch pan. Close to that. I've used pans that are a little bigger, a little smaller, and it works just fine. But I'm going to grease this pan really well with some butter, and I just put my butter on a paper towel, and that's how I grease it. I'm probably using about a tablespoon of butter altogether. Maybe too much, but it never hurts, at least for this recipe. It actually makes it really good because it adds that little buttery flavor on the crust that we're going to make. Next, I'm going to reserve back. I'm going to hold back on this crumbly mixture about 1.5 cups of this for later. So I'm just going to take a 1/2 cup and just put 3 of these in a bowl. So that's 1.5 cups. And if I need a little more for my crust that I'm going to make, I can just pull it out of the bowl, but as you can see, that's quite a bit. All right, so now I'm just going to take the rest of this, and I'm going to use this to make a crust on the bottom of my pan. So I just sprinkle that in there. Now, if you have dough, if yours turned out more doughy, all you have to do is break it off into pieces and make sure that you you just break off your dough into little pieces, little balls. You don't have to make balls, and then you just break them off and spread them around the bottom, and then you're just making a crust is all you're doing. So you're just gonna have to play with your crust until it works out. This is really great because when you use a crumbly mixture like this, you get a really nice even. It's just really easy to even out your crust. So I'm just going to pour all that in just like that. And then my hands are clean, and I'm just going to push this in now. Just turned out so perfect. Like I said, for years, before I got the KitchenAid mixer, I just used dough. I mean, I could never get the crumbly mixture just right. My mother-in-law did, and I don't know how, because she didn't have a KitchenAid. She had like a Sunbeam mixer or something. In fact, I had my husband's great-grandmother's Sunbeam mixer forever. That Sears Sunbeam, when they used to make them like super, like the stand mixer. But gosh, that was so long ago. And that mixer lasted so long. And but then when that broke, I got just a kind of a cheaper one, and just never could get that crumbly mixture just right. All right, so now what we're going to do is place this in the oven, and we're going to cook it for 10 minutes. Now this next part is kind of fun. What we're going to do is take a sock. Now this is I'm making hummingbird nectar. I already made it, and I was just letting it was cooled off, so I had just put a plate on there. Do you guys ever do that? I mean, you can't do it when it's hot. This is what's completely cold. But I didn't get my lid out. I just threw my plate on there. But yeah, I gotta go change out my hummingbird feeders. So so now we're just gonna take we're gonna need another half a cup of butter, another 1 stick of butter, a half a cup of evaporated milk, 1 package of the caramel candies, where you have to unwrap them all. And now these are 11 ounce. It's an 11-ounce bag. But it used to be 14 when my mother-in-law wrote out this recipe years ago, but they shrunk. I don't know if you guys noticed that. But yeah, we're going to open up each one of these, throw them in here with a half a stick of butter and a half a cup of evaporated milk, and we're going to melt that down. This makes a nice caramel base for a lot of different recipes, by the way. I've tried making this little mixture for other things. It is so good. I'm just turning the heat on just low. Doesn't take much. All we're doing is melting these. This is a half a cup of evaporated milk. I'm adding in make sure that you shake your evaporated milk, your can of evaporated milk, very well before you use it. I forgot to do that and had to shake it up after, which was kind of interesting. And you can already see that's melted. Now I got to get these caramels in here, so I'm going to open these up and just throw them in. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit because we know when you're trying to film and do a recipe, it always takes a little finesse. Alexa off. I've got to show you just how beautiful this looks. This is 10 minutes in the oven. Now this is the look that you want. It's nice and bubbly. If you see that, see how bubbly, like just puffed up it is? That's how you want it. So perfect. Okay, I'm going to turn this back up a little bit to just medium. And we're going to just let the caramel candies melt in there with the butter and the evaporated milk. And it won't take long at all. And we are going to leave the oven on because we're going to have to put this back in the oven here in just a few minutes. Now I always love this part, but now look, let me turn this off. Look at that. Look how nice. Now there's a few lumps in there you could sit here all day and I don't know. I never get it quite as smooth because I guess I don't have the patience. But the thing is, you're going to stick it on this hot brownie base, and then you're going to stick it back in the oven, and it's going to melt anyway. So here's what we do next. We're just going to take this and we're going to pour it right over the top of this crust that we just took out of the oven. We did let that cool just a little bit, not too long. It doesn't matter. It's going right back in the oven. So, and then you just, I'm using my left hand, but I'm right-handed, so. Okay, now, look at that. Look how yummy. I bet you can already imagine how good this tastes. Now we're going to take this mixture that we held back and we're going to sprinkle that on top. Now again, if yours turned out to be more of a doughy ball, then just break it into little pieces and then just drop them, just spread them around because they'll melt. But if you have a good mixer that actually does a good job of this crumbly, making this crumbly mixture, you're going to be so happy. Now we're just going to put this back in the oven for about 30 minutes. Out of the oven. Do you hear how bubbly that is? So I had it in there for, about 25 minutes actually on 350 degrees. I don't know why exactly I keep it in there for 30 minutes because that's what my mother-in-law wrote on her recipe and how she did it, and I always make it exactly the way that mom did or my mother-in-law did. So yeah, but I don't know why, because really there's I think pretty much everything is in there is cooked really well in a short time, but leaving it in there this long really does make it give it that real bubbly kind of, mixes the caramel with the crust, as you can see, or the topping right there. So now we're just going to let that completely cool, and then that'll take probably about 20 minutes or so, we'll see. And then as soon as this is cooled, I'll come right back and show you how to make the glaze on top. All right, so next I'm going to take some of this. It's the, I'm just using the Betty Crocker Rich and Creamy Milk Chocolate canned frosting, but you can make your own if you want. And I have a little bit, I actually tried to do this a while ago and I thinned it out too much, so I just started all over. That's why there's some missing. But you're just going to use a couple of spoonfuls. So there we go, 2 good-sized spoonfuls. And then I'm just going to add, I've got messy hands. On a side note, I made this a different time, and I actually, instead of using water to mix this, I just stuck it in the microwave and it works so much better. So that's what I would advise you to do. Next, we're just going to add a little bit of water, not too much, just a splash. I hope that was, I don't think that was too much. Probably just a tablespoon or so. I'm going to stir this up. And we're just going for a nice little, we're just thinning it out so we can drizzle it is what we're doing. You don't want to add too much water. But if you do, like I think I might have, you just add a little more chocolate or frosting, whatever frosting you're using. I suspect you could probably try like a coconut. You could put coconut in here or something too, but I never have. I do it the exact way that my mother-in-law does, or used to, and it's my husband's favorite. So that's about right. I'm just going to stir that, oops, up, and it's kind of splashing around a little bit. That's part of the fun of baking, is that it's messy. So, and see how I can now drizzle it? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take it by the spoonfuls and I'm going to just drizzle it. And you could probably, there's like a bunch of different ways that you could do this, but I'm just drizzling it. Pretty haphazardly, but that's just the way I do it. You could probably put this in like some kind of a one of those tools, the decorating tools, or you know what, a Ziploc bag and cut off the tip. You could do that and just really do a nice design on here. But for what I'm doing, I mean, it doesn't really matter really at all. So you just want a nice drizzle of chocolate frosting on here. And then I am sort of, as you can see, just just spreading it around a little bit with my spoon, like that. So, I mean, you don't have to. You could just leave your little drizzles, but I do that. And then next, if you want to, you can sprinkle crushed nuts on top of that. Now, I don't do that because my husband just likes it like this, but you could sprinkle some nuts on there. You could probably like even sprinkle coconut. I mean, there's endless possibilities. Some chocolate sprinkles, whatever you like. You can just play around with it and experiment with it. But that's done for us. This is how John likes it. It's layered a little bit, you can see. And then what I'm going to do is get my turner and just go around the edges to loosen them. And then I'm going to cover it and put it in the refrigerator for about an hour and let it get nice and chilled. And then it's going to be perfect. Then I'll cut it into pieces, little squares, and put it on. Now, I filmed that clip about a couple weeks ago when John was fishing. And I'd since made some more for his birthday. So if you guys have been following my vlog, you kind of have seen this kind of play out. But I will recommend that after you make those brownies, you do let them set. They are so much better after they set. And what I usually do is I put them in the refrigerator for a few hours. Once they're set though, I leave them out on the counter. I don't refrigerate them after that. In fact, they don't last long enough to refrigerate. But we have some left here. I'm going to cut them up and take them camping, and if I don't eat them all. But I'm telling you, these are not something you want to make and keep laying around your house, because if you try to eat low carb like I do most of the time, this is not good. But John's birthday was 2 days ago, yesterday. I'm losing all track of time. So these were a special birthday treat for him, this second batch I made. So hope you guys enjoy those. Do let me know in the comments if you decide to make these. I hope that you do. If you like caramel and you like cake mix and you like German chocolate cake and you like brownies, I recommend that you try these. They are delicious. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.